Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Oddity Shop. I am sitting here with Kara Parakovic, who is doing everything in her power to make me not be able to keep a straight face while talking, and she is succeeding.
I didn't actually do anything, though. You just started having a giggle fit.
I mean, I did look at your face, but...
Oh, but I have, like, you know when you get one of those under your skin, like, zits?
Yes.
Okay, I have one right under my eye, and my whole eye was swollen this morning, where I had to ice it for, like, an hour and a half, and it was actually, like, I had a black eye. Can you see it?
Good story to cover up your black eye. But before we get on that, what do we do here?
What do we do here?
Well, when we're put together, we tell odd, creepy, weird stories, and we also want to hear your odd, creepy, weird stories to read back to you in the future.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Stick around. This would be the Oddity Shop. Kara,
yes?
What the hell is going on with you this week?
What is going on with me? Oh, you were supposed to remind me to tell you about it, but I remembered anyway. Okay, this is really weird, and I know I could probably look it up, but I'm sure it would be vague or whatever, so maybe somebody can tell me, or maybe you'll know. You know when you get a feeling, how do I preface this? Okay, so you and I will be like, yeah, we feel like there was somebody sitting in our backseat of our car, or there's somebody like down the hallway, whatever. But when we say that to each other, what we mean is like a presence and a spirit entity, whatever, however you want to phrase it, right? Like that type of feeling. Okay.
Like that being watched feeling.
Yeah, but like typically when you and I are saying that, that's what we mean. Like I don't mean there's somebody actually in my house watching me. I think it's like a energy, a spirit, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had this feeling though, and it's so bizarre to me. Okay, so where I work, I have this very big empty garage that's not used on the back part of our building. So in the morning when I have to walk in, I have to check all of the doors. I have to go in all the rooms of the building, all the doors, and I check just to make sure no one's in there. I unlock the doors that are locked. I have to walk in the rooms, blah, 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 and then I can let the rest of my people in just to make sure we're all safe. So every time I open the store, I walk through the garage and there's this little tiny room offset of the garage. I have to go through, and as soon as I go to put my key in this door, that there's like a separate room, like a little inventory room, every day, as soon as I go walk into this little room and I put my key in to open the door, I get a feeling. It's so weird. I just get a feeling like just witch. I don't know what it is, but it's like witch comes over me every freaking morning, and I unlock, and sometimes it really it's a motion sensor light in there, so when I unlock and I badge and I open the door, the lights come on. Sometimes they don't, but I still have to walk in there because the camera has to see that I walked in there to check, and I just get like this wave of witch.
Maybe it's like a hexed door. It goes to the inventory room, right?
Just the little inventory room, the one we don't use.
Well, maybe some old employee / witch put a hex on it just to keep things safe
or something. But isn't that so weird? I've never had that feeling where it's like, for no apparent reason, a witch just come to my mind.
Are you sure the spirits aren't calling you a bitch?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm sure, because it's just not, but I get where, like, I know you're being funny, but I don't even know how to explain what I'm even trying to say to you. Like, I don't know how to articulate it. It's the most weird, whatever.
Hey, if you're getting an overwhelming feeling, ooh, take the spirit box.
Oh, heck no.
Your employees come in the morning, you're sitting in the dark old inventory room, and it's just the static going.
No, actually, this is really funny. My other manager, I don't know what we were talking about, but we were just like kidding around, and we were actually doing stuff in the one inventory room, and I turned on the Spirit Talker app on my phone, and we were just chatting, and it started saying really bizarre things, like a lot, and he's like, oh my God, what are... It was so funny.
I still think those apps are fake.
No, I know, but it's kind of funny. I put it on airplane mode, so I don't know. But anyway, that's about it here. I do have a really quick product shout out. Ooh. It's so random for our podcast, but I've been really enjoying it. This is not sponsored because we don't get paid for nothing. But it's really random, but it's called Spoiled Child, and it's a liquid collagen. And I've been taking it now. This is like my second month, and you can attest to this. My hair is growing like freaking weed, but my nails are like really great and strong and beautiful. My skin's good. My hair is growing. And I'm just like, for all of those, you know, babes out there that want to like get their hair growing.
I'm a babe who needs to get my hair grown. Do you see this bald spot?
Yeah, I told you needed to get collagen and you yelled at me.
Yeah, but I had to see the results first. So now I'm bought in. I'm a visual learner.
I will say it is a little bit pricey. I can't remember how the bottle is, but it does last you 30 days.
I'm out.
Well, hello, you're going to cry and complain or try it?
We'll see.
But it tastes really good. It's like mango and you just mix it with your water and it's delish.
Mango?
Mm-hmm. Mango, like you said earlier. They didn't hear that though. All right, that's what I got. What about you?
I've got nothing really exciting this week. I bought an orchid. I finally bought my first house plant that's a flowering plant, and we're going to see how long I keep it alive.
You think you'll kill it?
I don't know. I've always been afraid to like try them. I've heard they're really complicated, but I've done some research. I've got it in a great spot. It's going to be awesome.
I think it'll be fine.
I also got like a really little tiny baby one, so it wasn't very expensive. So if I do lose it, we're only out $15.
I got a new plant too.
Oh, it's so plant buying season. I love that they're all coming to life and blooming, and I have new leaves everywhere.
I know, it's beautiful. And I bought a bunch of different little tiny what are they called? Like propagation stations. And they're all lined around my shower now. And so I have all these little beautiful little baby plants going. Oh my God, it is just wondrous.
Cute.
So anyway, are you ready for a question?
I think I'm prepared.
What would make you kill?
Oh, wow. Okay, no, I wasn't prepared. Okay, so before I started getting my groceries delivered, I would have said the grocery store because that place just makes me absolutely unreasonably angry.
We just talked about this earlier.
I know. And not even killing people, just how much I loathe. Like, I don't get road rage, but I get cart rage and people who aren't self-aware of their space.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the moment, what would really make me kill?
Yeah. Or like if you were to, or plan it or like whatever, like what do you think would be?
Oh, I couldn't plan it. I can't see blood without passing out. It would have to be such a heat of the moment. Like I just lose control.
Heat of the, how does that go?
It was the heat of the moment.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't know the words.
Good, because we'll get copyrighted because we sound so great. Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready. Although I have so many guesses of where this could go. So let's just go.
Okay. Late December 1872, George Newton Longcore left Independence, Kansas. He was traveling with his infant daughter, Mary Ann. George's wife, Mary Jane, sadly died soon after Mary Ann was born. So this trip was to make way to Iowa to start a new life with George's sister, Mary Abigail. Lots of freaking Marys.
You always have the repeating names.
I know. It's just these times. Okay, so I'm sure you can guess that sadly they never made it. Okay, so in the spring of 1873, George's former neighbor, Dr. William Henry York, went looking for them. It's said, it's kind of unclear, but it's said that he, the horse and the covered wagon that George was using was actually sold to him by William York. So he was just a nice neighbor. He just wanted to, he never heard that he made it. He just wanted to check up on him, which I think is kind of nice because I can't imagine that type of trip was easy at that time. So to go check on an old neighbor.
How far did he have to go?
They went from Kansas to Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, like a covered wagon. That's not that easy, right?
I'd hardly go across the street for my neighbors.
Exactly. Well, I do because I love Deb. Anyway.
Deb is great.
Right. So he basically starts kind of questioning whoever he can along the way. Basically, he was a self-made detective. March 9th, he was set back to return to Independence, and he never made it.
The doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we have George that was leaving to go to his sister. He never made it. Dr. William York was going to figure out what happened to him. He never made it. Luckily, York had two brothers that knew of his little investigation. Ed York and Colonel Alexander M. York. So Colonel York...
That is a name.
I know, we're just going to call him Colonel York. So Colonel York was a veteran, a lawyer, and a member of the Kansas State Senate. So the disappearance of his brother led to Colonel York getting 50 men to question every traveler along the way, like along the trail, and visit all the areas homestead. Can you imagine that this man's just like, hey, my brother disappeared, so I need you all to ask every single person that you come across and literally knock on every door.
Well, it's not like you could put their face on a milk carton or posted on Facebook.
I know. It's just like so wild when you think about it.
Yeah, I don't even know 50 people I could get to do anything.
That's so valid.
I don't even think 50 people listen to us.
They don't. All right. So March 28th, Colonel York reaches the Bender Inn. So some background on the inn and the family. The family running this inn / like convenience store consists of John, Elvira, John Jr., and Kate. If at this point this sounds familiar, does it? No? Okay, good. But it is because we are diving into America's first family of serial killers, the Bloody Benders.
I've literally never heard of them.
No?
I'm ready, though. No.
Okay, cool. Dang, I really
You're so
thought
geeked.
because I thought you were going to know. Oh.
No.
Okay, let me take a sip. After the Civil War, the Osage Indian... Oh my gosh, let me restart that. After the Civil War, the Osage Indians were forced out of Kansas and relocated to Oklahoma. This was to make way for European settlers, which is absolutely horrible, but, it's a whole different story. And on a side note, it made me think, I just want to promote my girl crush, Bailey Sarian, because she does her podcast, Dark History, and it's about all the messed up history that we really should have learned, but we didn't.
And she's amazing, too.
Oh, gosh, she's amazing. All right, so October 1870, the forced removal of the Indians allowed Osage Trail to be available for 5 families to relocate. The most notable being the Benders. The family was able to obtain 160 acres that faced the Great Osage Trail. So John Sr. and John Jr. arrived first. And then the family was thought to be German immigrants. It's kind of hard to know a lot about background, especially when people travel. I feel like you don't get all their background.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com and join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
Right, and in 1872.
Well, right. So Senior was supposed to be around 60 years old, and he apparently knew very little English. Not too much is said about him, just that if he did speak, it was unintelligible, and he was said to be very grumpy. Junior was 25. Can't you picture that, though?
Oh, yeah. That's like every German grandma. Or grandpa.
Right, grandpa. Okay, so Junior was 25, and he was said to be handsome. He had an accent when he spoke English, which, people like accents. Many articles said that he was described as a half-wit because he laughed aimlessly at a lot, which he might have just been high.
I just love the term half-wit.
Half-wit. I need to write that down because that's great.
It's probably not PC, but I still chuckle.
I like it. All right. So once the two of them built a cabin, a barn with a corral and a well, then the ladies joined. Elvira, or Ma Barker. I'm thinking of freaking Barkers. Ma Bender, as she's sometimes referred to, was supposed to be around 55. Now, some articles say that she's like 47 or 40. It's really hard to get the correct information, but we're going to go with 55 because that was
Perfect.
What I read most. She was said to be unfriendly. She was commonly called She-Devil by her neighbors.
Oh. I mean, with a name like Elvira, though, you're going to just you have to grow into that personality.
I know. Elvira, I love it. Okay. And she allegedly spoke little English. Kate is the Golden family member. She's 23, cultivated, attractive, and spoke English very well. She's the star pupil. She's also a self-proclaimed healer and psychic. Kate was said to hold seances, and she gave lectures on spiritualism. So she brought a lot of attraction into the inn, into their family inn. Basically.
Oh, okay. But this is like the time when spiritualism was like, you can't see the air quote spiritualism, but it was like a cash grab, right?
Kind of. I mean, I don't necessarily there wasn't a lot that was like that they were using it as a cash grab, but it was definitely attracting a lot of people into the inn.
We'll have to do an episode on spiritualism at that time because it's so cool.
Mm-hmm, well, absolutely. Well, yeah.
It's a whole thing. It's an oddity.
That's true. All right. So basically, mom and pops are old and cranky, and the kids are more social. It's said that they even attended Sunday school regularly, which is, I don't know, weird. You're doing whatever. All right. I'll add here, and this is a small little tidbit, that some neighbors said that Kate and Junior weren't actually siblings, but they were married. However, Ma Bender was said to have been married twice before, claiming to have a total of 12 children, and it is said to be proven that Kate was her fifth daughter, and for sure Junior is both of their sons. So it's hard to know for sure, but I will say that there are some articles that talk about the family being I can't say that word.
Incestuous?
Thank you. And that makes sense if people were thinking that the siblings were more like closer than they should be. But it's such a small tidbit, and it's not a really big talked about thing. So I don't know how accurate that is. But either way, yuck.
Yeah, I'm not loving it.
Okay, so back to Colonel York. So he gets to the Bender Inn. He explains about his brother, and the family says, why, yes, he was here for a short time, but he left. And he was likely to get into some trouble with the Native Americans. York stayed for dinner, and he agreed that that was a possibility. What? It
clicked.
Okay.
I have heard this before. Yes, I'm very excited now. It's the inn that did it for me.
Okay, so he stays for dinner, and he's like, yeah, I guess that's probably a possibility. And again, like we just said, like the times that they were in were like so troubling because you just had to go to door and be like, hey, have you seen my brother? Like, I don't even know if he would have had like, I mean, I guess he would have had some sort of picture of him, but like.
Yeah, it's not like you could just print one off.
Right. I can't imagine. And then you're just like, well, I guess I've been traveling all day and it's like going to be a long way back. Like, yeah, I guess I will have dinner with you. Like, how freaking wild.
And it's an inn too. So you're immediately
in like a convenience store. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anyway, on goes Colonel York after his meal. Shortly after, and I'm not really sure why, but Ma Bender chases a woman out of the inn with knives threatening her. So she's like running after her with knives. This woman like reports her, and this gets the attention of Colonel York again, and it draws him back. So on April 3rd, he returns to the inn with armed men.
Yeah, always trust your intuition.
Mm-hmm. So Kate and Junior deny the claim of the threat that, you know, Ma threatening anybody. And Ma can't understand English at this time, so she doesn't say anything. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. And remember before I said allegedly doesn't know English. The claim was then repeated. So he's like, no, your Ma chased somebody out with knives, whatever, which led Ma Bender, Elvira, to become enraged. And she blurted out that she said the woman was a witch who had cursed her coffee, revealing that Ma indeed could speak and understand English way more fluently than she had been leading on for the past 3 years of living here.
If she could have just kept that in.
I don't think she cared. I just don't think she cared. Okay, so Kate being Kate, she told Colonel York to return next Friday alone, and she will use her clairvoyant abilities to help in the location of Dr. William. Which is so suspicious, super suspicious, because why wouldn't you have just said that the first time he came over for dinner?
Right. You wait till they show up with armed men and you're like, hey, wait, I'll give you information if you come back by yourself.
Oh my God. Hey. Right. What? Okay, at this moment, I'm going to crack a drink. Just a little ASMR for people that might like it.
Do you know what you're doing right now?
What am I doing? Is it bad?
You're doing... No. The episode that got me into my favorite murder and true crime, this was the first one I ever listened to.
Oh, I just was like, oh shit, what am I doing? Okay, hold on. I lost my thought. So at this point, because that's suspicious, he's convinced that the family has something to do with his brother's disappearance. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. So in the year of 1873, so still in the same year, but there started to be reports of missing people who had passed through the area and it had become common. Travelers began to avoid the trail altogether. So it was starting to be like a really big talk, like don't go on the trail, like people are disappearing, like we don't know where they're going, like it's becoming a thing. So now that Colonel York is searching and growing suspicious of the Benders, the surrounding communities are like something fishy is going on. So there's already been a lot of talk about this. Now we got this Colonel guy looking for his brother, like something's going on. And they began to blame Osage, like the strip of Osage, for all the disappearances. And they hold a meeting. So this was held at Harmony Grove Schoolhouse. 75 locals attended, including senior and junior Bender and Colonel York. This is where it was decided a search warrant would be obtained to search every homestead between Big Hill Creek and Drum Creek, which Osage Trail is in between or whatever. So as I'm sure everyone at this moment is screaming right now, but even though the Benders were thought to be a high suspect on the high suspect list, no one kept an eye on them once this warrant was announced. Yeah. Like you'd think that they would be the first house you'd search.
You would almost think with it being an inn, like you'd put the searchers there almost as a guise. Like, you're going to stay here for the search, but like keep an eye on these people.
Oh, I didn't even, you know what? That's a really good idea. But no. So just a mere 3 days later, it was noticed that the Bender Inn looked abandoned and the animals were unkept. Billy Toll was the one that reported this to the township trustee. Unfortunately, there was said to be bad weather, which is so funny because, last week we were just talking about how we've been having 80 degrees in April and it's not good. And they're having like a severe snowstorm.
Oh, it snowed here today.
It did snow here too, but I'm just saying it's just funny. But anyway, so this storm, this bad weather didn't allow for anyone to be able to check up on the inn for several more days. So essentially a week went by. Okay. This is where we get a little...
Like how to let criminals get away 101.
Yeah. All right. When it was able to be investigated, it was found that the house was depleted of all food, clothes, and any personal belongings. Now, this is when a pretty horrific thing was discovered because the men traced where a horrible odor was coming from in the house. Found nailed shut was a trap door.
Okay, yep. This story is 100% coming back to me now.
Now, I know you and I know me, and there's no way we're opening that trap door in the floor.
I would pass out.
But also, we would low-key be really, wanting to open that door. I don't think we would do it, though. Maybe we would stand down.
No, we would talk somebody else into doing it.
Yeah. But, at the same time, we'd be like, no, I don't want to know what's in there. But then we'd be like, wait, what really I do? So you open that door?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm going to explain the setup of the inn. So it's described that the family's inn was divided by a cloth curtain from their living quarters. So instead of a wall to make more living space and privacy, you just had a creepy sheet. So,
okay.
I mean, I guess in that time. So basically, I mean, I can't imagine it's that big, but if you can imagine where their I don't know, where their living area was, there's a sheet for the kitchen and whatnot. Okay. So when a guest arrived, they would be seated at a place of so-called honor facing away from the curtain. So the men open the trap door and find an empty room. This room is about 6 feet deep. And it's not that big. I think it was 7 feet wide, but it's not a very big room.
It's almost like a root cellar sort of deal.
Kind of, yeah. And it's just a small square room with a slab of stone on the floor that was apparently broken up, which it looked like sledgehammers had broken it up. They did find clotted blood on the floor, which they determined was the cause of the smell. So let's talk about the reports of the missing people that got us here. Because remember, it was the missing reports of all these people, then the suspicion that really came to bring this meeting to then do the warrant. So in May of 1871, a body later discovered as Jones. They just give the name Jones, so I don't know if that's the last name, first name, I'm not really sure. But the body was found with his throat cut and skull bashed in Drum Creek. The owner of Drum Creek was suspected, but nothing was ever done. We cut to February of 1872, and the bodies of 2 men were discovered with the same injuries. So a head bashed in, throat slit. This is when it was noted to be dangerous to be traveling along the trail. So we have a missing suspicious family and a trapdoor in the home with pooling blood.
It's not looking good for them.
No. Okay. Now the men that are the search party or whatever you want to call it are actually picking up the house. So they're picking up the frame of the house. So you have to imagine houses then weren't made, you know.
It's 1872.
Okay. So they're physically picking up the Bender's cabin and moving it to dig under. Once that was complete and they didn't find anything, they dug around and probed around all the cabins. So basically they were kind of like taking like sticks or whatever, and they were just probing the ground to see if they, like anything kind of like stood out to them.
Oh no.
Which is just so, but it's just so, I don't even know.
They didn't have radar.
No, I just mean like, I just can't imagine being those people. Like, what do you think you're going to find? Like, it's like in your head, you know what you're looking for, but no, I'm not going to find that. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I can't imagine
That'd
just
be
walking
you
around.
Sticking the stick in like an inch. Oops, didn't find anything.
Nothing here. Moving on. Like,
You pull out like a handkerchief. Oh, what could that be?
Exactly. Just move the dirt a little more. Nothing over here. Okay, hold on. Where's my spot?
We get a free drink ticket for this, right?
I swear to God, I'd be drinking as I probed the ground. Drinks and probing.
Typical 1872 Friday night.
I swear. Oh my God. So anyway, any disturbed looking soil, they paid extra attention to. Okay, now we move to the garden and the orchard. Dr. William York was found face down buried. So they found him.
How far from the cabin?
You know what? That's a really good question. When I was looking, it didn't really say. I mean, they had 160 acres. So I'm imagining that the garden and the orchard was farther out from the property, but I honestly don't know specifics on that. So the group searched the acres until midnight when it was too dark to see. But at this point, they had mapped out 9 possible graves. So disturbed stuff that they had mapped out that this could possibly be. Like after they found him, these could be possible graves.
Yeah, because now you kind of have like the MO, you know what you're looking for.
Right. And I'm kind of assuming that it was just because of like disturbed dirt and stuff like that, that's what made them map out these other places. Okay. The next day, the discovery continued as 9 bodies were found in 8 graves. Additionally, a large number of body parts were found. All the victims had the same slashed throats and bashed skulls except for one. One body was of a young girl, and she was found with no injuries, so it was speculated that she had been strangled and buried alive. I will just put this in here. It was hard for me to like clarify this, but I did find one article that said, because it said 9 bodies in 8 graves. I'm pretty sure I read one article that the 2 bodies that were in one grave, one was that baby.
Oh.
With her dad. That's how we started here. George and his daughter Mary, one of the Marys. But I don't know that for sure.
It tracks though.
This is why I'm just like, I asked you what would make you kill, because I'm not sure how we got here as a family. But the possible motive was money.
Yep.
Oh my God, I just can't. So if a guest looked like they had some coin, they would get a spot at the seat of honor. Remember, your back is to the curtain, and like you think the curtain is just giving that family privacy. But the star pupil, Kate, she would distract the guest, possibly with her looks or maybe a lecture of spirituality. Now, junior or senior, whoever felt frisky, would attack from beyond the curtain, striking the victim on the right side of the skull with a hammer. So your back is to this curtain. You're just talking to Kate. Remember, she's 23 and she's like amazing. And then all of a sudden, you just get whacked with a hammer on the right side of your skull.
Dunzo.
So then our fine women would then do their due diligence and cut your throat to ensure your death.
I was going to say, it seems like overkill, like blunt force trauma to the head and cutting of the neck.
So then the deceased was then dropped through the trap door. What the hell?
I mean, you're running an inn. You can't just have a body at the seat of honor.
I have no words. So this is where the bodies were stripped and ridded of all of their belongings and money because they don't need them no more.
Okay, I'm not calling this out to make fun of you, although I am a little bit ridded.
Ridded. You're ridded.
Is that a real word?
Yeah, like you're ridded of.
I could be completely wrong. It doesn't sound right, but
hey, Siri,
like, I also can't think of what it would be.
Is ridded a real word? Ridded, to relieve or deliver from something disagreeable or okay, so maybe to make free. Yeah, you rid a house of.
Huh.
Oh, look at that. You learned a word.
I did. All right, I'm wrong.
At 30 years old.
Still learning, baby.
Okay, so then they're ridded of all their belongings. Then they're buried in the orchard. So for those of you that think that the true crime obsession is a new thing, you're wrong. Because 3,000 people, including reporters from as far as New York and Chicago, visited the site.
Jesus.
Let me repeat that. Only 75 people showed up to the town meeting, but 3,000 showed up when they were like, oh yeah, this inn has dead bodies all buried around it.
Right. Like after everyone does the real work, the spectators come in.
Yes. The cabin was destroyed. What was called as souvenir hunters took absolutely everything, including the bricks that lined the cellar.
Oh. Do you want cursed items? Because that's how you get cursed items.
That's how you get something. Rewards were offered for the family's finding and arrest. Detectives followed the tracks of the Bender's wagon, and they were able to find it and 12 horses, but it was abandoned, so nothing came of that. They were able to confirm that the family bought tickets on the Leavenworth, Lawrence, and Galveston Railroad for Humboldt. Jeez Louise. Let me try that one more time.
Yeah, try that whole sentence over again.
I knew I was going to mess that up because there's so much in it. They were able to confirm that the family bought tickets on the Leavenworth, Lawrence, and Galveston Railroad. Listen, just keep it in. This is the second my time.
Move on.
Railroad for Humboldt. Junior and Kate were said to have left the train and caught the MK&T train south to Red River Country near Denison, Texas. So they kind of have these people saying that they saw them going this way, tickets were verified this way, blah, blah, blah. But parental units stayed on the train to Humboldt and then instead continued north to Kansas City, where it is believed that they purchased tickets to the St. Louis, Missouri. So we don't really know what the heck they did.
You know they all ended up together again. They just took 8 different ways there.
Right. And I think that that's what they did because it's like they went from Kansas to this, back to Kansas to this. So many vigilante type groups claim to have caught the Benders, lynched them, shot them, and so on. But it was never proven and nobody ever tried to claim the reward. So it's really unlikely because around these times you need that money.
Oh my God, how many incorrect Benders were killed?
Well, I don't know if these people actually killed people. I think they were just claiming to be like, yeah, I killed the Benders. But it's like, no, you would prove it and you'd want that money. Like we're in 1873. We need money. Right.
I mean, if the Benders were killing for money, sure.
Exactly. Okay. So on October 31st, my favorite day, in 1889, it was reported that 2 women had been arrested in Niles, Michigan, or often reported in Detroit, which I was like, dang, I didn't know that.
Ooh.
Miss Elmira Moore and Miss Eliza Davis had been arrested after their identities of Kate and Elvira had become known from a witness that seen a photograph. So this person called in and was like, yo, I saw this photo of Elvira and Kate and it really be looking like Elmira and Eliza.
Okay, if I commit a crime, the last alias I'm picking is Jack. Why change just one letter?
Yeah, I mean, I get, well...
Elmira.
Yeah, but
Elvira.
Kate. But Eliza and Kate. Or you could go Eliza and Elvira. So I don't know.
Wait, I thought you said she went...
No.
But Elvira went to Elmira.
No. They found it in a Miss Elmira Monroe and Eliza Davis.
Yeah, so Elvira to Elmira. She changed one letter.
I mean, I guess. Or she could be Elvira or Eliza. So either way, they both pick names that are super close to Elvira, which is just dumb. So I get where you're going. Anyway, Miss Davis signed an affidavit admitting that Miss Monroe was Ma Bender, and they both were extradited to Oswego, Kansas for the trial. The trial was held for May. Remember, we were in October, so it was held for May. And unwilling to accept the expense of boarding the 2 women for those months, the county released them both.
Stop.
Now, I will say, a lot of reports and a lot of stuff goes back and forth into like, was this really them? There was like a whole ordeal of proving it. And then there was like records that need to be pulled and then marriage license and all this stuff. So it's very, very unclear if this was actually even the 2 of them, but it could be a possibility.
Plus, for like the way records would have been kept in the 1800s, finding them states away in Michigan, it would be probably such a circumstantial case.
Exactly. So whoever the heck they were discharged and let go. So I don't know if any of that's true. Okay, so that's kind of like the last whereabouts or whatnot. We have vigilantes saying that they murdered them. We have no idea if they all separated, if what happens, if they even made it. I don't freaking know. So let's just kind of go through all the victims as told by Murderpedia.
Okay.
So in 1869, Joe Sowers was found with a crushed skull and his throat cut. He wasn't necessarily believed to be one of their victims, which I'm not really sure why, because that sounds exactly like their MO. May 1871, Mr. Jones' body found in Drum Creek with a crushed skull and throat cut. Winter of 1871, between 1871 and 1872, two unidentified men found on the prairie in February 1872 with crushed skulls and throats cut. 1872, Ben Brown from Howard County, Kansas, had $2,600 missing, and he was buried in the apple orchard. In 1872, W.F. McCrotty, horrible name, $38 on a wagon with a team of horses was missing. He was found. December in 1872, Henry Mackenzie, relocating to Independence from Hamilton County, Indiana, had $36 missing and matched a team of horses that were missing. So the horses that they had, they matched. December 1872, Johnny Boyle from Howard County, Kansas, $10. And a mare and an $850 saddle were missing, and he was found in the Bender's well.
Hold on. What is that in today's money? I need to look it up because I need to know how much.
I do have one conversion actually coming up.
Okay.
In December of 1872, George Lonker and his daughter were missing, and they were the ones supposedly in the grave together. And then it does say that he had $1,900 missing, which in 2009 was $33,000. And oh my God, $33,600.
The one that you said, though, like the $38, I don't know why that one stuck out to me.
Yeah, that is probably like a couple hundred.
It's $875.
Okay.
They killed for $875.
Right. John Greery, they don't know when, but he was buried in the apple orchard. There was an unidentified male buried in the apple orchard, an unidentified female buried in the apple orchard, along with all those various body parts that didn't seem to belong to any of these victims.
Ugh.
And in 1873, during the search, the bodies of 4 unidentified males were found in Drum Creek and all the surroundings. All 4 had crushed skulls, cut throats. It kind of goes on and on. I just wanted to give some attention to the victims because how awful. It's just awful.
We always star the murderers. It is nice to bring.
And that's kind of what I wanted to go through. But also like to just note how many people they actually killed. And like you just pointed out, like for $850. Now, that's why it was sad that maybe the motive was money, because they seem to actually kill for nothing. Like all these random body parts, like.
So like the money was just like extra?
Well, I think possibly, but nobody knows what started them on this, why they actually were doing it, like as a family. Like how the hell did that come about? I don't understand. Were Kate and Junior raised to be murdered? Like were they raised murdering people? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, if Ma is running out with knives and stuff, she obviously wasn't a great role model.
Well, I don't think their dad was either. But now you can see the Bender artifacts, which include 3 hammers, and they can be found at the Cherry Vale Museum. 3 hammers.
That'd be interesting to go to.
Well, I mean, yeah, because everything else was stolen.
Yeah, I wonder where all those things ended up.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, that's probably been passed down, or it's just been thrown out because people are like, what the hell did Grandpa have this for? A brick.
Right. Grandpa's got this brick with a weird red stain in the basement.
Oh my God.
Take it to the Goodwill.
But that's apparently America's first family of serial killers.
Okay, so when you said the Benders, though, I didn't recognize it at all. But as we got into the story, I appreciate the nostalgia you brought up, because the first true crime podcast I ever listened to covered that story. And it was, of course, the My Favorite Murder Girls.
Which is so wild because I've listened to every single My Favorite Murder episode because of you. And I don't actually remember them. I mean, I'm sure they did. That's probably why I know of it, to be honest.
Right. But great job.
Thank you.
Definitely gave some details I hadn't heard before. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a long ride.
It was a long ride. Definitely an interesting one, though. Makes you weary of staying at like bed and breakfast kind of thing. Like you just never.
I kind of think that I've never really stayed at like a really small bed and breakfast. I think they're so what's the word?
What about like a weird Airbnb?
No, I mean, you do more Airbnb stuff than I do. I don't think have I ever even stayed at an Airbnb? No, I don't think I
stayed in one when it was like in its infancy. So we had all moved back to the other side of Michigan, and we wanted to come to visit the west side for a Halloween party. And I don't know how we didn't die. So it was an Airbnb, but like he was only renting 2 rooms. So the guy and his dog, unbeknownst to us, were staying in another room in the same house.
Nope.
It was me and 3 or 4 women. So he's like,
you're always with women.
I know, but he was like, at one point he suggested that me and him share a bed so that they would have more space. And it you did tell me this, and it was so disturbing to me. And now I slept as close to that front door as I could, and by slept I mean I just kept my eyes open the whole
I
night.
think I would have just been like, take the money and I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah, it was not fun. There was like, and in the room we rented, it was literally just a mattress on the floor and like 8 filing cabinets.
Now, you said this was like when Airbnb just started. So was there not pictures?
Yeah. I mean,
or like, how did this?
I didn't book it. I'm not the planner. I left it up to whoever was planning that one.
Who the hell planned this?
I'm not going to point fingers.
Call him out.
Nope.
I'm just kidding.
But we all survived.
Thankfully. Okay.
Awesome though. That one is crazy. It's a long one.
I know. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna let you go.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, don't apologize. This is a good story. With that,
do all the things. We appreciate you, and most importantly, creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.